Today, we don't just report the news, we dissect it. A statement fired off in the digital world threatens to ignite a trade war. President Donald Trump has once again targeted India, proposing heavy tariffs and labeling the nation's vibrant economy as dead. You heard that right. He terms our economy as dead. This isn't just a headline, it is a barometer of global power shifts. The words are simple, but the motives are complex, rooted in a reality that some are finding difficult to accept. So today, we peel back the layers of rhetoric and look at the cold, hard facts. First, the central claim: is India's economy dead? Let's silence the noise and listen to the numbers now. As of today, August 1st, 2025, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, projects India's GDP to grow at approximately 6.8%. This isn't just growth, it is the highest rate of growth among all major economies on the planet. India today is the world's fifth largest economy, on a clear and rapid trajectory to become the third largest by 2030, perhaps overtaking both Japan and Germany. A dead economy doesn't attract over $85 billion in foreign direct investment as it did last year. A dead economy isn't home to the world's largest population, a rising middle class, and the most dynamic consumer market in human history. The verdict of the data is unequivocal. The Indian economy is not dead. In fact, it is one of the most vital forces in the global economic arena. So the inevitable question arises: if the claim is so demonstrably false, what is the real story? The surface level answer is trade. The argument, as we have heard before, is about reciprocal taxes. The tariff on a Harley Davidson motorcycle is a favorite example. But to believe this is only about motorcycle is to miss the entire geopolitical chessboard. The real story is about frustration. It is the deep psychological frustration of a legacy power watching a rising power refuse to follow the old script. It is the fury that boils when a nation you once saw as a follower begins to lead its own way. Let's examine the evidence. Number one, energy security. When the West sanctioned Russian energy, India did not fall in line. It put its national interest first, Rashtra Pratham, and increased its purchase of Russian oil, securing its energy needs at a lower cost for its 1.4 billion people. The argument from New Delhi is simple and sharp. If Western nations can buy and sell energy globally for their own prosperity, then India has the sovereign right to buy energy for its own stability. It's a declaration that India's foreign policy is forged in New Delhi, not dictated from Washington, D.C. Now, secondly, military self-reliance. Perhaps the most telling move was India's rejection of the American F-35 program. This was not just a commercial decision, it was a strategic masterstroke. Buying a platform like the F-35 means buying into an entire ecosystem of dependency for maintenance, for software updates, for munitions, for political approval. In fact, by choosing to invest in its own indigenous fighters and diversify its partners, India sent a clear message. Our armed forces will not be subject to a foreign veto. Our defense is not for sale. This is the core of the frustration. This is what fuels the rhetoric. It is the dawning uncomfortable realization that India is no longer willing to be just a market or a military client. It is a pole in the new global order. And this new stance is not built on hope. It's built on a pragmatic strategy. India's resilience to external pressure is cushioned by its enormous domestic market. Unlike many export-led economies, India's growth is powered from within. Furthermore, it has actively strengthened alliances in non-Western forums, Like BRICS is no longer just a talking shop. It's a platform for trade in local currencies, creating a nascent financial system that challenges the dominance of the US dollar. This is not about being anti-West. Remember, this is not about being anti-West. It is about being pro-India. It is a policy of multi-alignment, of engaging with all powers, the US, Europe, Russia, the Middle East, on India's own terms. So when you hear the angry rhetoric and threats of tariffs, understand them for what they are. The growing pains of a changing world. It is the sound of an older order, that old order grappling with a new reality. And this leaves us all, not just in India, but across the world, with a set of profound questions we must now confront. Is a world order built on the dominance of one or two powers sustainable or even desirable in the 21st century? Is economic interdependence a bridge for mutual cooperation, or is it the reality, a weapon to be used for political coercion? As more nations like India rise and demand their place at the head of the table, are we descending into chaos? Or are we witnessing the birth of a more difficult, yet potentially more equitable global balance? And finally, for every citizen and every nation, what is the true price and the ultimate price of absolute sovereignty? Think about it and keep watching The Global Eye.